evening, everyone, or should I say good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on where you're tuning in from. My name is Nippon, and this is the primetime edition of the the third to last episode of Euro 2024. I just thought I'd bring in a stream before the last one, which will happen on Sunday at around 4 p.m. So don't go anywhere. It was going to be at around 6 p.m., but I received a text saying that I have to be at work super early at around 5 in the morning. So that's why I'm moving it sooner. So yeah, a preview away. Get started. Now, joining me tonight are Queen Ellie from Spurs Die Hard and Mr. Matt Ball. How are you all doing today?
Yeah, good. Looking forward to the show, Nippon, and what you've got planned for us and what questions you've got in the pipeline for us. Looking forward to that.
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait for Sunday. I just wish I could go to sleep through the whole of Saturday and just wake up to the Sunday.
Unfortunately, I won't be. I will only find out who won when I wake up on Sunday morning, because I have to go to sleep early, which will mean I miss the game.
You're going to miss the game?
Unfortunately.
Oh, no.
Nippon, just get some Monster Energy and just sleep after your shift.
I'll just put the commentary.
Why don't you just bunk off work? That's what I have to do. I say I'm sick.
To be fair, though, it'll probably be the most obvious.
You won't get away with it, will you?
And my supervisor knows how much I love football.
Yeah.
And
I hate football.
And my supervisor's a Man United fan, so
I
will give him a reason not to give me a day off, and he knows I support.
If he's kind, he'll put a TV in the kitchen where you're cooking. He can at least do that for you. Come on.
I'm sure he'll pop off and watch the game somewhere.
Yeah, while you're slaving away.
Anyway, less about my work. So, it's safe to say that the two best teams of the tournament are in the final.
Arguably, I thought Denmark were pretty good.
Yeah. You just said because of the name you have in your surname. You just think Denmark were good because of what's in your surname.
Yeah, he played brilliant. He didn't let me down.
To be fair, I think Germany. I think if Germany were in the other side, I think that probably would have been.
Would you fear Germany more in a final than you're fearing Spain?
Oh God!
Actually, I'm going to be a bit. I'm going to shock this. I actually would be. I think in a final in Berlin, I wouldn't want to face that German crowd, because yes, you're going to have your fans there, but you're going to have a lot of Germany fans there, and the ticket touts will make a good lot of money off Germany fans trying to get a ticket.
But then there's also the host's curse. In this century, the host hasn't won.
Yeah, but
no,
I don't think that doesn't always run on it. Curses run out eventually. And
for example, even Harry Kane's can run out.
I mean, we've got the curse of not winning since '66. I think that's a stronger curse than home hosts curse.
Okay, France not winning in 2016. Portugal not winning in 2004. Holland not winning in 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not dismissing the curse. I would just say that our curse of not winning a single trophy since '66, bar the women, of course. is a bigger curse than the host's curse.
Speaking of the women, did you see the message Serena Wegman gave to Gareth Southgate?
Mm.
Well, they both gave each other messages. So I just like that both the men's and women's teams are united. It's a shame half of the bloody TV channels don't remember the women's existence and go, "Oh, this is the first Euros final we've been in ages."
May I just say something?
Bloody idiots.
But they also said it's the first Euros final that we've reached on foreign soil, and I don't think, and the women's Euros final was at Wembley.
Yeah, that's a fair stat, but
They should still
I think there was one as like, oh yeah, if we win, Gareth Southgate would be the first England manager to win a Euros. It's like, no, it's not right. But
we just have to face Germany because every time we face Germany, we win in the final.
Exactly. That's why.
The last time the last time we won a final was under a Labour Party Prime Minister.
Don't give me that. Keir Starmer keeps saying that we're winning because of him. I was like, oh, for God's sake.
Well, he's a gooner. What do you expect?
No, I'm not saying
Him and Jeremy Corbyn support the Arsenal, didn't they?
Yeah, they do.
I know, but yeah.
I might have to change my vote.
Anyway, first I've got to say to Max Verstappen, and another one of these goes to Cody Gakpo.
Yeah, losers.
Xavi Simmons.
Oh, Xavi Simmons. I've got a screenshot of Xavi Simmons crying after that Watkins goal. Beautiful.
Head loss among Dot's Twitter. Like, what's the referee? Shut up.
Oh, I turn around to one of my friends who doesn't like England and coincidentally is Dutch. He was like, "Oh, this is the terrible decision." I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I can argue why they've given the decision, but I can definitely understand it not be. It shouldn't be. I wouldn't give it a penalty."
Did you see how when Holland beat Turkey?
I turned around and went, Maradona's hand of God. Lampard's goal against Germany in 2010 that should have gone in.
Yeah.
Ficking Koeman should have got sent off when we played Netherlands before. That meant we didn't qualify for the World Cup in the 90s. So Koeman can't talk about it.
I'm not surprised.
Rudy versus Ronaldo.
Well.
I mean, there's things shit like this happens.
You
can't blame that on the whole thing. They had their chance to score and they didn't. We were the better team. I could understand if we were terrible, and we'd got a lucky penalty and won it. That's a bit different. We were on top. We had goals disallowed ourselves, which were rightly disallowed, but we had plenty of chances to score. And apart from their goal, which was a pretty good goal, and a bit of Arsenal players failing in the midfield. But apart from that, they didn't really have too much. I think they hit the word work once. Apart from that, but there wasn't really much else they did. So I don't
get chances, didn't we? Because
there's nothing they can say. Oh my God, we were wrong.
We won it fair and square, didn't we? Yeah. We won it fair and square. We were the better team. We've created more chances, had more possession. We were dominant, so they should be quiet.
And I'm disappointed that Ryan's not on, because Ryan said we weren't going to win, and I was right again. I want to see if Ryan's got the same pessimism for Spain.
I've got a chap coming on later on Spurs Diehards called Mark Cousins. He's been saying we're pants all the way through. And now I think he might have changed his tune now, because we did play well against Holland. And we played okay versus Switzerland as well. We weren't too shabby against Switzerland. Yeah, so we're picking up the performances.
You've got the big quote. It's not about how you start, it's about how you finish.
That's right. I tell my husband that every night. Don't quote me on it.
But
I'm
yeah,
trying to be clean, but I'm a woman,
I have a question. Who would you say are more petty? Arsenal fans or anyone but England lot?
Oh, God.
Arsenal fans are very petty.
So you'd say they're more petty than Anglophobes?
You know what it is, right, with Arsenal fans? They was used to so much success, and then Arteta took over, and he won something in his first season, be it halfway through the season. He inherited that squad. All right.
And not to mention it was the biggest robbery of
it
all
was
time.
against Chelsea, wasn't it? I was really egging on Chelsea that day.
Well, that was the day that some god decided that Chelsea weren't going to win the day. I remember
playing so well, wasn't he? Pulisic.
Oh, it was the fact that he ran through on goal and just completely tears his hamstring. And then Kovacic got sent. It was the worst part was the Kovacic getting sent off.
Yeah.
For getting tackled by Xhaka. He got tackled and got sent off. I was like, that day I'm anti-Taylor. Well, Anthony Taylor's not welcome in the fan base.
Taylor. He should get another vocation.
What's your thoughts on this?
What does that say?
Oh, about Gareth Southgate staying. Well, of course the FA will look and want him to stay. Whether he chooses to stay is another question. I still think he will walk either way.
Yeah.
I think his plan was he would walk if he lost because I mean he nearly walked after the World Cup. He said I'll give it one more go. And if he wins, I still think he'll go out on a high. But he might. But if we win, he might have he might have a bit more of a think about it. But I do think he'll go either way. I think the FA, of course, want him to.
The whole team will get knighthoods if we win the Euros.
I reckon Sir Gareth Southgate will be knighted.
I think Southgate will be knighted. I think certain players might be knighted, but I think it's hard because I don't think they're going to knight the whole. They're not going to knight the whole team, but there's not really been anyone in this specific tournament that you can go they deserve to be knighted.
Depends. Like if Harry Kane scores a hat trick in the final, that'd be cool.
That's what happens in a lot of countries that they receive their country's highest honour.
Well, I think naturally you'll assume Kane will get one because he's the captain.
He should.
If someone scores a winner in the final, they could get it. I don't know because I think some of the lads are so. I feel like people would like Bellingham to get it, but I don't think he would. I think he's such a young. I think some of these lads are very young. It's their first tournament. I don't think they're going to give some of them. They might get
an OBE.
They might get MBEs and stuff like that. Because I know a lot of the Lionesses ended up getting MBEs instead of.
Was Lauren James one of them?
I think Southgate and Kane are already MBEs anyway, so it'll be just an upgrade. But I'd give Cole Palmer an MBE for that pass in the semi-final.
Yeah.
I mean, I know everyone goes on about Watkins. Watkins' finish was good, but that Cole Palmer pass was sublime. I mean,
I think Ollie Watkins will get one because of who King William actually supports.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. If Williams,
he supports Aston Villa as well, you know.
You'll just see Arias, Eric Konza, and you'd be like, what? But I'll make a point on that semi-final.
I reckon Guéhi deserves one.
Flag, go on.
He's been playing so well for England. I think he's a standout defender.
Why not just knight Harry Maguire for getting an injury and letting Guéhi come in?
Yeah, an honorary knighthood.
so Harry Fridge Maguire. But going back to the semi-final, I'm going to make this point. I was debating this with my friend. He's a Liverpool fan, so he doesn't really know much. You have to talk to him a lot about football because he needs to understand it. But I said, if Foden was on that pitch and Foden had got that ball that Palmer had, we wouldn't have scored.
Yeah.
Foden would have just dribbled through, took a shot, either gone wide, hit the post, whatever, and we wouldn't have scored. We would have gone to extra time and penalties. I think Palmer, that sub, I think people really don't understand how important Southgate's sub was for that. I mean, thankfully he made a good sub. I just wish sometimes he'd do it earlier. But that is Southgate for you. But I think Cole Palmer, that is exactly what I've seen at Chelsea. And people keep going, what does Cole Palmer do? Well, that's what Cole Palmer does. He doesn't just score penalties. He is. I don't like to compare people to people like Kevin De Bruyne and Fabregas, but Cole Palmer can literally pick a pass out of nowhere in tight situations. Ball you don't expect any. Like I don't see any other England player that would make that pass.
Yeah, I think he reminds me more of Mahrez of Man City because he's like an attacking midfielder, but he's got like similar traits to Mahrez.
He's got a lot of flair and he likes to do a little bit. He almost is like some people at Chelsea could like say he's almost Brazilian-like because he will just do little flicks and go past people on turns, but it's so kind of like almost. It's natural to him. Like it doesn't look like he's trying too hard to do it. He just is doing it. I still don't understand why Pep let him go.
Yeah. Maybe he didn't think he was.
I won't complain about that.
He made a big mistake there.
Yeah. Pep don't make many, but
he doesn't make many. Yeah, you've got to forgive him. He's won a few trophies, hasn't he?
Nick, what did you think of the semi-final overall?
Boring second half, entertaining first half. That's the England versus Holland game.
Yeah, but I don't think the second half was as bad as people were saying. I think the difference was Holland changed their tactics. At first, they were coming out at us quite a lot, and that's why we were getting a bit more space. And this is why I'm a bit more confident with Spain, because Spain will come at us a little bit because they will be the on-top team. And I felt it allowed us to come out of our shell a little bit because there was a bit more space in behind. And there was a bit more way we could play rather than teams just sitting 10 men behind the ball. The difference was Holland did start playing like that in the second half and being a bit more counter-attacking because in the first half, the main threat was that ball over the top, which is why Weghorst come on at half-time. Because they wanted to exploit that. And that's why I think Netherlands got a bit more control in the game. But I don't think it wasn't the most prettiest, but I don't think it was necessarily bad.
Yeah.
It almost reminded me of a Chelsea game in 2012.
Well, what do you... I saw some people... Because I'm mixing this with club football as well, since it's not much to talk about when it comes to the final. What are your thoughts on some Chelsea fans saying we want Wout Weghorst?
Why?
I mean, impact off the bench.
I'd rather bring Giroud back.
More goals.
Yeah, I think you do. I'd still prefer. I mean, Weghorst can barely get round the pitch. I mean, Weghorst. I think the thing is with Weghorst is he's good when he comes on for a 20, 25-minute spell. Anything longer than that, and he's got nothing.
Ronald Koeman trust him
because there's no striker like him in the Holland team. So when he needs a plan B, that's who he turns to.
Yeah.
I mean, can you name another striker like that in Holland?
No.
The only nearest one we've got in England is Chris Wood.
Zirkzee not really like Zirkzee. He can hold the ball up, but he's not like that. I mean, I find that interesting. Zirkzee going to United because I obviously keep an eye on me being part Belgian and keep an eye on the Belgian league, and he was playing in Anderlecht a few seasons ago on loan. Didn't really rate him that much, so let's see how he does. United, I don't think it's. What
are your thoughts on the other semi-final? Spain versus France.
I think Deschamps almost did a Southgate and fumbled the bag. I mean, one of my friends, he's from Paris, and he said he's been hated on Deschamps, and I didn't really understand. I was like, mate, you've won a World Cup with him. I'm not. If Southgate, if someone wins a World Cup, I don't care what you do after that, like to an extent.
Yeah.
But he was like, no, we've literally he come out and said he'd prefer Southgate, to which I laughed. But watching that game, I was like, well, I still would probably want the shot, but I can understand his point. Like the way he's playing, like the France team is so defensive.
Yeah.
That midfield, I can understand you might want to block the midfield out, but he's played that quite all the way through. I think it's a bit disgraceful to have that defensive a team when you've got so much talent in that French side. It's unbelievable. I mean, some of the players that he's left home in certain positions, I mean, it's not like they've got a bad defence. They've got fantastic defenders and decent defenders, as you said, have left home. I mean, Malo Gusto was fantastic for Chelsea and didn't even get a sniff in the side. And
Michael Elise.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I know he's been injured a lot, and Cuckoo didn't even go either. So there's so many brilliant players that didn't go, and just play so defensive. And again, I think Mbappe's been crap this tournament. Again, it's the same.
No one's called out Mbappe.
He doesn't take Mbappe off. I think if you took Mbappe off and put someone else up top, might have changed it a little bit.
Do you think? No. Why do you think no one's calling out Mbappe? I mean, Jude's having stinker after stinker.
Because I think Real Madrid don't want you calling out Mbappe, and Real Madrid run things.
Jude plays for Real Madrid too.
Yes, but Mbappe is now their star man. But Real Madrid keep going out and saying they don't buy Galacticos anymore. But this is a Galactico signing. They've just signed him on free.
And so was Jude Bellingham, by the way.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't want to criticise him before he's put on the shirt. Jude's played the season and he's done very well, so he can handle it a bit more and they're not so bothered. But I don't want to put too much pressure. Well, there's already enough pressure on Mbappe coming into Real Madrid.
Who would you say has a bigger ego out of Jude Bellingham and Mbappe?
Mbappe, 100%. I think we said this in the previous show. Like, Jude Bellingham has not caused any problems with teammates. I remember the last, I think the Euros 2020, when everyone, Mbappe's mum was having an argument with half the fucking parents in the stadium.
Wasn't that Rabiot's mum?
Yeah, well, Rabiot and Mbappe, the two most arrogant sods in the planet. I said that I wouldn't.
Did you see Rabiot slagging off Lamine?
Oh, I love that, and he. I think I can't remember what the quote. Yamal replied to it, and it was like just such a cryptic quote he made back. I was like, this guy has got, and then to score the goal, and obviously it's Rabiot, he shoots it past. I'm like, that was just made. I mean, if I was Yamal, I would have got up to Rabiot and celebrated his face. But I mean, I don't like Rabiot. I mean, how Rabiot gets into that out of all the good players France have got, and Rabiot gets into that France 11, beyond me. If that was Southgate doing that, I mean, I regard Rabiot on the level of someone like Eric Dyer. Not terrible. Dyer's not a bad player.
Eric Dyer is a midfielder.
Dyer is a bad player.
Eric Dyer is a defender.
It's terrible.
Oh, Dyer's played in midfield before. He's played, but my point, Nip and Staff, Dyer should never be in that 11.
Yeah, he was okay. He was all right in midfield, but once he went in defence, he lost his way. He's not a good defender. He backs off all the time. But he's got the Bayern Munich and he wants to start his career fresh, and he's done okay for them. You know, he's never going to be the star player in the team, but he's decent.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I wouldn't
I
have
don't
him in my defence.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I'd prefer actually. I'd prefer to play him in midfield.
Yeah, he's a better because he's quite aggressive, right? And he's quite a unit, isn't he? He's a big lad. Yeah, so he would be all right as a central defensive midfielder. But as a defender, he gets found out because he lacks pace and he backs off a lot and he doesn't put in a tackle most of the time. But and I see him for Bayern Munich, he's putting in tackles for us.
Yeah, but
He
that's
hardly
just
put a tackle in.
that's because the German league, the Bundesliga defenders are just terrible.
Yeah,
That's why people like Sancho score all these bloody goals out there because it's just
yeah,
defenders
yeah.
is terrible. And that's
Even
why Dyer
Werner,
looks.
isn't it? Even
Dyer just
Werner scored 48 goals.
exactly. It's like
That
Dyer
shows
just
you
look.
what it-
Any semi-competent defender can do well out there.
Yeah, true.
But
Yeah. Anyway, what we're going to talk about next, Nippon?
My iPad's playing up. Hang on.
All right,
that's what
he's
I would-
gone. Yeah, his iPad's playing up, people, so you have to bear with us. But I was going to ask you a question, Matt, about if England play well and lose, do you think there'll be quite a lesser backlash for Southgate?
Speaking of defenders, if she's still there, I don't think she is because it says 0 in the chat.
Melina.
Melina,
Yeah,
yes.
what I'll do, I'll just come out and I'll get it advertised. Just wait
What's
1
your thoughts
second.
on Arsenal signing Calafiori?
Have they signed him?
Yeah, they've signed him.
I didn't even see that. I don't rate the player that much, so I think it's one of these things. As he's played a good Euros, but he's injury prone like crazy. I think I saw a stat that in the last 3 years he's had more days out than Kieran Tierney, and Kieran Tierney is just cheese strings legs. So I'm not really bothered if Arsenal want to waste their money on him. That's fine.
They're just fussed about his hairstyle because it looks like a Maldini. I saw one channel saying that he's the next Maldini.
No, ridiculous.
They're just insufferable, these Arsenal fans.
I mean, they can waste their money on Euros. I mean, they can go get other players like that who have done well in the Euros, think they're going to do well.
Okay, Fabio Grosso had a good World Cup. Would you have taken him at Chelsea?
Who?
Fabio Grosso.
I mean, I as a principle don't just look at players based on international tournaments because international tournaments are a lower level.
So by that logic, you wouldn't have taken Miroslav Klose at Chelsea?
Not just based on his Euros or World Cup.
No, as in, like, would you have taken him in general?
If I can see that his league form is also good, then that's fine. But it's like the perfect example is someone like James Rodriguez. Done fantastic for Colombia, and even now he's done great at Colombia in the Copa America. But he can't do anything at any normal club because it's just not good enough.
Did you not rate him when he was at Real Madrid?
I mean, he was okay, but he weren't pulling up trees. And that's the thing you get with these Euro stars, especially ones that score like big goals and big finals. They get put on such a high pedestal that they're never going to actually achieve your expectations when they come to your club. I mean, I like to look at players, and I find I'll see a good player and I go, well, how did he do in his league format? And if he's done well in his league format, then why not? But I'm not really. I don't like. I think it's such schoolboy errors to just look at players based on the Euros or based on one World Cup. If they've done well over multiple competitions, but by then they should be not well known enough. But yeah, It is what it is. I mean, I can't talk to Chelsea fan because we just buy 16-year-olds, so we have no knowledge on these players.
Do you think it'll end up biting us in the arse?
In what way?
Like, we'll end up just doing mediocre because of all these little. We're not buying enough experience.
Well, I disagree with that on this extent that Tosin isn't exactly inexperienced. He's played multiple years in the Premier League. He's, I think, 25, 26. And not to mention that some of these 16-year-olds and 18-year-olds, they're not going to actually play in the first team. Some of them are here to do effectively what we did with Amari Hutchinson. Get him for a minuscule fee, and in a couple, he does well, and in 1 or 2 years, you flip him for more money. And that is the way Chelsea make money to eventually buy the signings that you want, the bigger ones. Because I've said this for a while. The problem is Chelsea do not have a financial model available to make a lot of revenue at the moment. One, because we're not getting Champions League football money or just prize money revenue anyway, which Roman heavily relied on that just to get by FFP. That's why Roman was sacking managers if they didn't win trophies. Secondly, sponsorship revenue, which it's improving, but again, until we get into the Champions League, that sponsorship revenue won't be high enough. And again, that was something that Roman didn't really pay too much attention to as much as other clubs are now. And three, and this is the big one that I think is our fault as fans, is we don't bring in nowhere near enough match day revenue because our stadium is not big enough.
But a lot of old school fans won't want to move stadiums.
Well, if you don't want to move stadiums, then accept being 8th place every season because we have the 8th biggest stadium in England. So technically, by that metric, we are right where we should be.
By that logic, Spurs should be winning the league every season.
No, but
the biggest
Spurs are now making more money than we are.
But how many trophies are they winning?
Well,
fuck all.
Yes, nipping. They haven't won trophies in the past, but it doesn't stop them. If they invest that money right, they will be able to outspend us in the future, and that might lead to trophies.
They don't win anything.
Well, obviously, they might not win anything, but that would just mean they've spent their money poorly. It doesn't. Obviously, you've still got to spend the money well, but we've got a problem. People don't want to move to a new stadium, but they don't also want to sell academy products. It's like, well, how are you going to make money?
It's mainly just
because unfortunately with FFP,
I hate using this term, but it's mainly the match day going yardars who don't want the academy products sold.
Well, that's the problem. They're also probably the fans that don't want Stamford Bridge being redeveloped. And that is the problem. You can't have your cake and eat it. And they're probably the same fans that are moaning about this ticket increase. Well, the reason they're trying to increase the ticket prices is because you're not allowing them to build the extra seats. If they had the 60,000 seats, they wouldn't. They're trying to make some of that revenue back by increasing the ticket prices, which is wrong, but it's their money that they're spending. I mean, you've got to accept that football is now a business, whether we like it or not. I'd like it to be back in the day where it was just a normal football club, not a lot of money in it, and more passionate. But the point of this thing is we want to buy all these players. So we're making it a business in terms of we want to spend hundreds of millions of pounds on footballers. So don't moan when the other business stuff comes and bites you. I mean, fans are very fickle. They're okay with the owners spending billions and billions and billions of pounds, but they're not happy with them getting charged a bit more for it, or them having to sacrifice certain stuff like an increased stadium build, or young players being sold. I mean, some Chelsea fans just need to unfortunately get real with the situation that we're in. We don't have a sugar daddy owner anymore. No club anymore. I don't think any club really has a sugar daddy.
Exactly, Paul.
No owner has a sugar daddy owner anymore.
Man City.
Well, they don't necessarily have a sugar daddy owner. They just have corrupt owners that are just breaking every rule in the book.
Didn't Roman break every rule in the book?
No, there was no rules in the first place. People were trying to judge us on FFP when FFP didn't exist. If FFP existed, Roman wouldn't have broken the rules like that or as much.
He would have to spend like Todd Bowley if FFP existed.
No, I still think he would do a different model, but yeah, there would be slight still differences. I mean, FFP, of course, was around when Roman come in, but no surprise, it was when Roman started being less. Obviously, we were more successful, but league-wise, less successful. For FFP, come in just after the Champions League, and apart from Mourinho's and Conte's win, we haven't won the league since. But the thing is, like even Saudis, Newcastle was still struck by FFP and still playing by the rules. There is not one club around, at least, and I am going to talk Premier League and Europe because that's where FFP rules apply. There is not one club that is a sugar daddy owner anymore. They all have to apply by these rules. And you'll notice that some of these teams are doing exactly the same thing in terms of selling players. Manchester City just sold Liam Delap for 15 million to Ipswich. Do you see City's fans moaning? No. You've got plenty of other players. Aston Villa sold Amari Kellyman to Chelsea. They sold Carney Chukwuemeka to Chelsea. Did you see Aston Villa fans crying at their board for selling young players? No, because they know it's the model of the business.
They used to not having any success. The last time they won a trophy was the Champions League.
Yes, but it's not the point about the success. So having success shouldn't matter on selling youth players or not. I mean, arguably you should be more annoyed as a mid-table club losing the youth players.
Yeah,
because you're that big teams are just, and you do get people that say, "Oh, the big teams are just picking us off." Outside of that, they don't go, "Oh, this is a disgrace," because I think fans, Brighton have the exact model of picking young players. I know people don't like to compare us to Brighton, but a lot of clubs are now using their academies, and the difference is we've got such a good academy that we churn out talent like it's no tomorrow. So, of course, it's more highlighted. But everyone is doing the same thing to make money. And this is how you make money. Teams have to sell players. And especially if teams have got mega wages. Again, the wage structure is something that Chelsea have had to calm down and regulate because we haven't got enough money. We can't be giving out 300, 400k to everyone now. Wages is your biggest expenditure as a club. So, of course, that's going to be the thing you try and cut. And I said to people, this makes sense to cut. I mean, people used to moan a few years ago, "Oh, Kepa's on 100k a week," or Hudson-Odoi on 120k, or Abraham's on 180. But now they're moaning that we didn't want to put Elisa on 350k or whatever it was. It's like, no, it's got to be. We're being responsible about wages. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. Well,
that is my Chelsea rant over.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna be ranting more about Chelsea in a few days. Pre-season starts soon.
When is the first game? I realise we've just made this completely about Chelsea, but
because there's not much to talk about, and we're gonna save the final prediction for last.
Well, going back to the final quickly, who do you think is the player you're worrying about the most?
Yamal.
Any particular reason? Or
Did you see how he tore that French defense to shreds? And how he's been all tournament.
yeah, I mean, I would argue he's not he's not the player I'd focus on the most.
Who would you focus on?
Rodri. As simple as that.
Would you say he was more important than Yamal to Spain?
If you mark Rodri out the game, you disrupt Spain's whole entire way of playing. And I know it's not as simple as that, but if you watched even the French game, they did try that a little bit, and it was working at times. It's just I don't think they've got good enough play. They did in the end of the day, their players weren't good enough to do it. But this is why what I would do is stick Bellingham on Rodri. I mean, Bellingham did this exact role for Real Madrid against City in the Champions League. Stick him on Rodri. Don't let Rodri have a sniff, and there'll be less chances that Yamal will get to score.
Well, there's a difference. England, I didn't think of that. A lot of England players have played against Rodri, while the French players haven't. So I see where you're coming from.
And it's not even that. It's just Rodri is just like I think Bellingham or Vinicius will win the Ballon d'Or, but I think Rodri has been absolutely fantastic and should be in the shout for Ballon d'Or this year.
Do you think he'll win it if Spain win the Euros?
No, I still think Bellingham will win it.
Yeah.
But I think I mean that's the thing. I think Yamal will get the praise from the Euros rather than Rodri. But I think Rodri has been. He is a phenomenal. He is by far and beyond the best defensive midfielder around. And as I said, if Southgate can sort out Rodri, which I would argue no one has in this tournament, then I think you disrupt their play enough. Yamal can, of course, still do something, but I would argue there's not. Shaw or Trippier has just got to do their best with Yamal. I think Williams. I think.
Do you think Shaw will start?
Yes.
Bloody well hope not, because
I think it depends on how much Southgate can think he can play. Because from what I understood, putting him on at half time meant he can only play a maximum of 60 minutes. Which obviously would have been the 40, well, just over 60 minutes, 75 minutes, because you would have 45 minutes of normal time plus the potential 30 minutes at a time. I think he might start him, and if it comes to it, he'll take him off at some point. That's what I would do, because I think there is less kind. It's the final. He just needs to put his best players on.
For me, all the players you've been playing that have got you to the final, I think you should just stick to what he's done.
No, but I think Trippier has been the weak link of this team the whole time.
They're saying Shaw would be better than Trippier.
Just because he's a natural left footer, yes.
But his hamstrings are made from cereal, basically.
Yeah, I mean he could get injured, and in which case you just bring Trippier on. But Shaw is still a better player than Trippier. I mean, let's not forget he scored the goal in the last Euros final for us.
Yeah, speaking of that, I will shit myself if we go 1-0 up.
I don't want to go up 1-0 up straight.
I'd rather we concede first.
No, I wouldn't want to concede, but I just wouldn't want to go 1-0 up early. I think we benefit from going 1-0 up in second half or going up 1-0 up, getting the ascendancy late on. I think for me, if it's 0-0 at half time, I'm fine with that.
But both 0-0 at half time.
That's why I think first half, I would just play very tactical to stop Spain from scoring. And people will say it's pessimistic and defensive, but this is tournament football. Goals will win you games. The defenses will win you titles. And I think you need a good defense against Spain because the longer they'll go on, the more frustrated they get. And as the second half goes on, we can then play a little bit more. And I think I would play on the counter, which is why I would start Watkins and take Kane off. But that is me suggesting. That is not what Southgate will do because Southgate, we know, will start Kane.
Yeah.
But I think, especially for Spain, you assume Spain will be on the ascendancy and Spain will want to play a bit. Well, they'll play a bit more of a high line. They won't sit back. Watkins will have the space in behind.
Do you rate their manager?
And in a running race, I'd back Watkins any day over their centre backs.
Do you rate their manager, Luis de la Fuente?
I don't think he's a bad manager. I don't think he's a world-class manager. Do you think
he would fit in a good Premier League team, like say a Chelsea or a Liverpool or an Arsenal?
I would. I don't like. The thing is, I don't like to comment on international managers that haven't really done it much in club football anyway. It's like Southgate. Southgate has never succeeded at all in any club match, but he seems to do okay with England. Again, international football in terms of being a manager is a completely different kettle of fish.
Because apparently that Joachim Low, he was never a good club manager either.
Yeah, that's it. Have you ever seen a good club manager go into international football and smash it?
No.
It's a completely different, and you look at teams. You don't need to. There's not a lot of teams that have loads of tactics and like real kind of Pep Guardiola football because you haven't got time to do that with the players. You just have. It is about individual performances. That's why international football is a bit slower, a bit more pragmatic, and it's just about getting the best out of your team.
Didn't Giovanni Trapattoni reach the final with Italy in 2000? Or was that Fabio Capello? I can't remember. I can't remember. I mean, I was 2 years old for that, so I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I that's why I'm not. Even with like people say, "Oh, do I really want someone like Graham Potter or Eddie Howe, who's not a fantastic club manager?" Well, you don't need a fantastic club manager. I mean, the only successful club manager you could argue that is in this Euros is Spalletti and Luciano Spalletti and Nagelsmann. But no, I mean Spalletti didn't do very well with Italy, and you'd argue Germany they went out to Spain, so it's a bit different. But Nagelsmann did okay, but even then, you could argue Nagelsmann hasn't exactly had a fantastic club career either. I don't think it's as important. You just need someone that can motivate the players and get the players playing. But do you think Graham Potter could motivate the players? Oh, the boys gave everything, and his boring team talks. It wouldn't be my first choice, but I don't think this England team needs a lot. I think it's a very good team. It doesn't necessarily need. That's why we've got Southgate, who's one of the worst managers of all time, and he's doing all right with his team. Yeah. I just don't like his stubbornness.
Yeah, but how many managers have we talked about in the past about being stubborn? All managers are stubborn in a way.
Deschamps, is he stubborn?
He's stubborn enough to not take off Mbappe. He's played Rabiot in every bloody tournament. He has his favourites.
Mbappe, I mean, like, some of them are more warranted, though.
No. I mean, yes and no. I mean, his defensive style. He's been very defensive, and again, French people were saying attack, and they didn't. He didn't do it. He's stubborn enough
And
to
yet,
stay
one of
defensive.
my French friends said they want Gareth Southgate because Didier Deschamps is too defensive.
No, that he also said that Deschamps is very stubborn. I mean, most managers are stubborn, and they'll have their favourites.
Do you think he's stubborn?
Who?
Do you think Spalletti is stubborn?
I haven't seen enough of him to know if he's stubborn, but if I know Italian managers very well, they're all very stubborn.
Yeah, Conte, for example.
Conte, Allegri, Sarri, all of them.
Do you think you need to be stubborn as a manager?
To a point. I think it's good to be a little bit stubborn, but there is a point where it too much stubbornness is not good enough either.
Yeah. So, do you think we've had a good transfer window so far?
For Chelsea?
Yeah.
I don't think it's. I think I've liked the window personally. I do think we need kind of one big sign in, to make it a very good window. But
do you think we'll get that great signing?
I feel like there'll be someone. Whether fans will say it's enough of a great signing is another question.
Who do you think it'll be?
I think it will be a striker or a winger.
Okay, let's see. I really hope it's. If it's a striker, I'm hoping it's Victor Osimhen.
Well, I will tell you now who my big signings for each position would be.
What?
So for striker, it would be Ivan Toney. And for winger, this one's a bit of a toughie, really. The winger. If he can lower his wage demands, Inaki Williams.
Wait, Iñaki Williams or Nico Williams?
Sorry, Nico Williams. Sorry, wrong Williams. Yeah, Nico Williams. If not, left wingers. Not really too sure what the winger it could be. I mean, could we look at Eze? I don't know. Could we look at?
Hey, how about test the waters by trying to trade Liverpool for Cody Gakpo?
I don't think it will happen. I think they're worried about Salah leaving potentially. So I think they'll want to keep on hold to everyone else.
Well, they still have Luis Diaz.
Yes, but I think when you've got problems with is Darwin Núñez good enough, they'll want to keep Gakpo in for as long as possible. They want to keep Diaz, they want to keep Jota, and find someone else for Salah. Who do you think the big signing will be?
Okay. I hope it's Well, it won't be just Joshua Zirkzee now because he's gone to Man
Wouldn't
United.
regard him as a big signing. If that's your big signing, I'm disappointed.
No, it's not. I still think it's one of Sesko or Guaquerez.
To be fair, Gyökeres, that's gone super quiet. I think Sesko signed a new contract, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think
So I think that'll be a gentleman's agreement that he doesn't go till next summer. Kind of like how Bellingham did and Cuckoo did. I don't think he'll move this summer. I wouldn't want him this summer because I don't think he's good enough at the moment.
What about I still think for some reason we're still trying to test something for Osimhen
But I think Osimhen might be going to PSG.
to replace Mbappe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, weren't PSG trying to sign Marcus Rashford to replace Mbappe?
No, I think that was rumours ages ago, but I don't think they're interested. I think it was Fabrizio that might have said it, or someone fairly reliable said that there's a little bit of a striker train going along where a few deals will come together, and one part of it is Osimhen goes to PSG, and Lukaku could go to Napoli as a result. Which, to be honest, if we can get rid of Lukaku, and that means Osimhen goes to PSG, I don't mind.
What are your thoughts on some of our fans saying we need to swallow our pride and give Lukaku a second chance?
No. Sorry, no. Not in a million years.
Well, I'm with you on this one. But what
I
were
would,
your thoughts
I would rather go re-sign Davide Zappacosta, Timio Bakayoko back at this club than give Lukaku a second chance.
Is this really how much you feel disrespected by him?
This I mean, this guy doesn't deserve it. He's not worth the gum that's on my shoe at the moment. He's disgraceful. Wouldn't have him anywhere near this club.
And somehow he's managed to piss off every team's fan base he's signed for since. Like he's pissed off Inter Milan fans by publicly. Did he not say he wanted to be at Juventus when he was at Inter Milan?
Yeah, he negotiated a transfer deal to Juventus on the night of the Champions League final because he knew he wasn't in the squad.
His ego. I can't believe he has such a bad ego. I mean, who does
Honestly,
he think he is?
it's terrible. And just as a fact that we've got so many young players on this side, and young players are very impressionable. They will latch on to someone like Lukaku and start copying Lukaku. I do not want any of these players to be exposed to that. I mean, it's bad enough they have to be exposed to someone like Sterling, who's just lazy at the best of times.
But do you not think Sterling has a little more professionalism than Lukaku?
Yeah, I think Sterling is professional. I mean, 99% of players are more professional than Lukaku.
Yeah. So I think we're getting to that time now in which we're doing an early prediction for the final. There will be another stream, guys, on Sunday around 4 p.m. So yeah, Matt, early prediction. This is just a vague one. You can give your final one on Sunday.
My first four is 1-1 after 90 minutes, and England win it in extra time.
Any scorers in mind? Jude, another bicycle kick.
I really want to say Cole Palmer just to shut up all the people that are slagging him off, but that's just me being Chelsea biased. And I'd love to see Sir Cole Palmer.
Yeah,
or Sir Cold Palmer. I'd love to see him like he's on his one knee and he's just doing this when he's getting his
and Prince Charles like, oh, Doobie. He was Doobie still.
But
I can just imagine Prince Charles in his dry humour saying that.
But yeah, I don't know who the scorers will be.
You know what player will shut everyone up if he scores in extra time? Harry Kane.
Yeah, it'll shut me up.
Shut all the doubters up, saying Spursy, this, that, and the other.
Yeah, I mean, I've criticised him in this tournament. I think if he scored, it's not. I don't think I'm necessarily wrong. It's just well done. I think I've been proved right with how he's played overall. But if he can if he can score in a moment and win it, then well done.
So my early thoughts is 2-2 after 90 minutes. And Spain take the lead twice. No, actually, yeah. Spain take the lead twice. And then we win it in extra time. 3-2.
That sounds like a game that I'm not going to finish watching because I'll have a heart attack or something.
Yeah. So yeah, those are my initial thoughts. And yeah, before we wrap up, I also want to have a big shout out to. There's a fourth this I want to give to all the Holland fans. And I know no one's going to talk about this, so I will. All the Holland fans that thought it would be a nice idea to go into a pub and start beating up all the England supporters. So this is what I have to give to them.
I absolutely agree. I mean, I was discussing it with my friend the other day, yesterday.
No one saw, wait, where was that? Where was the coverage on the BBC?
Oh, I don't know. That's the thing. If this was the other way around, it was England fans. You wouldn't stop hearing about it. It'd be the English disease, blah blah blah. But no, they don't want to pay attention to it. I mean, I think England fans on the whole, England fans on the whole, touch wood, because obviously we've still got time to mess it up. But we've been very well behaved in Germany, and I've heard from people that are out there of mine that they've heard exactly the same thing.
Even the non-English supporters were saying that to you?
I have a friend that's Scottish, so he would love to tell me if England have done something wrong, and he said no, the England fans that he saw were fantastic.
Is your Scottish friend supporting Spain in the final by any chance?
Oh, he's bought let's just say he's got a lot of money spare. So he's bought himself every single shirt of every single team apart from England, just so in case that England play them, he will wear that shirt. I think Nippin's completely frozen.
We win?
Huh?
Has he thought of a forfeit if we win?
I just think bantering him. We've been bantering him enough. Well, what we've done is that we've gone to his house. No, I hope he's not. He's probably not listening. But we've gone to his house, and what we've done is we've put together on a big piece of paper You know the M&M advert where it's like Scott's home early. We've done that on his door. So he's gonna walk home and he's gonna see that first thing when he gets out his car.
Do you know what would be funnier? If you have to tell him that if England win the Euros, he will have to support England during the World Cup as a punishment.
Yeah. I mean, we were thinking of he has a very nice car. One of his car, very nice car, and we were tempted to
Indian flags on it.
We were tempted even to go further. We didn't have none of us have the time for it. We wanted to wrap the car in red and white paper as an England cross all over it. Like, and I mean everything. The front, the back, the tires, everything. And just the amount of time it would take him to take it all off would just be brilliant. But the only thing is, we don't want to mess up the paintwork because that car's not cheap.
Oh, fair enough.
So we take the mick out of them, but we're very considerate.
If it was an Austin Healey or a what's another cheap car? Yeah, if it was an Austin Healey or a used like 20-year-old Ford Escort,
yeah. No. I mean, this car's worth at least 50 grand. So.
Okay, so you're looking at a Mercedes S-Class. Sorry, a Mercedes E-Class.
But yeah, I'm not gonna risk that. But just the fact that he's got a 12.5-hour journey home after the final, and that's the first thing he'll see, is gonna be brilliant.
How about putting his house, decorating it with a bunch of England flags? What's his club team?
So he supports Scottish team. He actually supports Rangers. So he's good in that aspect. But for English club, he supports
Liverpool.
No, even worse.
Man United.
Even worse.
Tottenham.
Even worse. Arsenal. Right. So he did well. He did well with Rangers, but Arsenal not quite so well.
Easy. If we win the Euros, just get a massive picture of Harry Kane lifting the trophy and put it on his front door.
Yeah, even goes. I go. Are you at least supporting Declan Rice? And he's like, for me, he's Irish. He's Irish, just playing in an England shirt. I'm like, oh, you. God.
Well, by that logic, Riyad Mahrez is French, playing in an.
Oh no, yeah, he even said the Saka. He's like,
I tell you, by his logic, how many players aren't actually for the team they support?
He just won't accept. He just won't accept that an Arsenal player is English, just for the sake of it.
Everything, if it's Declan Rice, by his logic, Riyad Mahrez is French. By his logic, Andreas Pereira is Belgian. By his logic, Hakim Ziyech is Dutch. By his logic, Michael Olise is English. By his logic...
Yeah, keep going on.
By his logic, would he say Saka's Nigerian? I'm not sure.
Technically.
Yeah, by his logic... Okay, his logic, we're going to say Saka is Nigerian. By his logic, Harry Kane is also Irish. By his logic...
I mean, he doesn't apply this logic to everyone. He just applies it to Arsenal players that play for England. Unfortunately, there's not any Arsenal player that is just English. Every Arsenal player that's English, he's got a way of linking it to another team.
Yeah, Saka could have played for Nigeria.
I mean, even Ben White I think Ben White's also Irish.
Is he?
I think he said that. I don't know whether he. I mean, he said, well, Ben White's not playing. He said that Ben White's deserted England, so he's his favourite player for that reason.
Ben White also has an ego the size of Texas.
I would reintroduce Ben White once Southgate's gone.
Do you not think he has a massive ego, though?
He does, but I don't mind that.
But for a player that hasn't won anything. Because Jude Bellingham, he's won stuff.
But
And I think he won the Pokal with Dortmund.
yeah, I mean, I'm not. It's something obviously as a rival fan, I'll say that. Oh yeah, he's won nothing. He's got that ego, but
here we go.
I don't mind players with a bit of ego. Too much ego is a bit different, but
yeah. Look, wait, you said you don't mind players with the ego. What about Lukaku?
yes, that's right. Too much ego and you're a prat, but just the right amount of ego is perfect.
Right. Did you rate what's his name, Luca Toni, when he was playing football?
Who?
Luca Toni.
Did you?
He was okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he was like, oh my god.
He used to score a lot of goals for Fiorentina, Juventus, and Munich.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think we've covered everything now. So Matt, and also Ellie, who had to dash for another stream. Thank you all for coming on. Matt, before we wrap up, where can people find you?
You can find me at MattJBall98 on Twitter, and you can find me on the Blue Co Project podcast on Spotify and Apple. And just to let people know, I don't run the Twitter. That is Carlita that runs the Twitter. So do not take them as my opinions.
Yeah. I need to speak to you after we wrap up, by the way. And you can find me on all those socials ticking below. You can also find me as an occasional, well, I wouldn't even say occasional, as making an occasional cameo appearance on Worldwide Chels. Go subscribe to Sadiq's channel if you haven't already. You can also find me as making a cameo appearance here and there on Football Carnage TV, run by the Big Six's very own Grizz Khan. And you can also find me on pretty much every call-in show on the Football Content Creators World. And with that being said, I shall see you all on Sunday when we preview the final. Laters.
Yes. And then after when we win.
That will probably be the morning after, the afternoon